right, so next thing I'm really excited about is task queue. Task queue replaces the partner queue V2. All y'all familiar with the partner queue V2? Some of you. So this is really the part of the project management. Without task queue, without the department queue, and you're trying to use Kermit software, what is it that you're going to be doing? You're coming to the party and you have to go and look for what it is that you should be doing for the day, right? You have to kind of go search this project, or maybe I have an Excel sheet I'm tracking, or just kind of high press, or I have a folder. So if you're using our software and you find yourself doing that, you're not utilizing the software way it's intended to be using for everything it can do. If you notice, we're kind of building here, so all these things build to one another. So if you set up a good permit types list, you set up, or application, whatever your types are, and you set up good workflows, you have the proper assignments, you have to really plan out who's assigned to what. Well, then you can just open up the department queue for each individual staff person, and there's a list of what it is that you need to do for the day, and you don't have to go find things to do. The software is telling you what to do. The task queue or department queue is the queue in the software. It's your personal queue of what it is that you need to be doing. So it's not really for other people. It's not for you to manage someone. It's for, this is what I need to do today. My goal each day should be try to get complete or empty my queue. That's really what the goal may not be possible, but you got to try. But that's going to save the time not to look for things and find it there. Now we have the new task queue. We've been having it's really been kind of been beta tested over the last year. We've gotten a lot of feedback. Actually, we just very recently before the conference did another update to it with sort features based on feedback. And there's going to be more coming out here in the next few months. But it is really ready to have more beta testers. So if you're somebody that wants to start trying it out, we just need to turn the roll on for your account, and you can use both. That's what we would encourage you to do when you first start. Don't just blindly accept it. Just try it out, compare it to the department queue, make sure it's worth, report anything, and then when you have confidence, you can just fully switch to it. But this is something that we want people start taking a look at to start being able to move to. To access it, once you have the role in NGO Connect, you'll just simply go under Projects and Task Queue, and that'll open it up. Now, one of the nice things about Task Queue is it's more than just requirements. One of our goals has been to eliminate all the different queues and have one queue that you can really access everything based on what your workflow is. So from here, I can see all my requirements. I can see online applications. We even have a way that you can see uploaded files. And you can even do, not everybody will leave this, but you could even do inspections and work orders. So if you're in the office and you want to have just one place of the software that you can manage, you don't have to go to different queues. Task Queue brings all of that together to unify the experience. Now, there's a lot of different features and functionality here. So just kind of going back to the slide, you see how great it looks. I mean, it really looks good. It's very pleasing to look at. You have a great chart that's going to show you all the different types. So if you have planner building review requirements are really building up on you, you're going to see that really start to grow in your chart that maybe I need to give that some attention. How many times you kind of wonder, what should I be working on first? And a lot of times we want to get the things that I have the most of. So now without having to go look or have an account, the chart is going to show you, oh, building reviews, that's 50% of what's in my queue. It's just small numbers. That's giving you instant feedback throughout the day of maybe things that you might be neglecting that come back to bite you layers. Does that make sense? So great looking deal. And all of your filters that you have in Department QV2 are here. We went with a new UI look where they're more vertical, which we find just works a lot better. It's much easier to find where they are. And one of the other new things we've done is for the core important filters, it will now remember what you last set. Some of you might have expanded permissions, but you really just need to keep it filtered in one requirement group or one requirement. So now you can set that, and when you log out, log in, it's going to remember it so you don't have to go reset it every time. And then if you need to change it, you just change it and automatically remember. You don't have to actually actively save anything. Now, another thing that's really important is the different dates for sorting. Now, this is a new feature. So if you're here, you've been beta testing the task queue for the web version. You may not have seen this before. We did have it in the mobile already, but not on the web, but it is now in the web. And this data, date and queue, assigned date, start date, due date, or deadline is nothing new. These are concepts we've had in the software for a very long time. They have to do with the project management, but you can now sort by this, and this has been a very popular request. But a lot of times people don't understand the differences to what these dates are. So really, if I had to pick one thing in my presentation to really get from it today, it's these definitions right here and understanding what they are. Date and queue is a very important piece of data in a system from a project management standpoint. And what it means, if you look at what Ken just got finished talking about, you have a requirement set or a workflow where you have these stages, right? Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And you have a workflow that's planned out. You might have something like review application and add fees in stage 1, and where you can check that off and complete it. And then you go to stage 2, which might be something like send invoice auto, verify, and then stage 3, verify fees paid auto, and then 4, building plan review. So when one stage is completed and it advances to the next stage, that's called the current stage or current priority. One of the things we're changing in MGO Connect, in my current now, we have it as current priority, priority 1, priority 2. We're changing that word priority to stage. And the reason for that is because we built in a lot more project management features where it was confusing people as priority being like, I need it now, or I can wait, or right, priority 1, 2, or 3. So we don't have confusion. We're going to use that word priority to do when you should do it, and stage can be the order it's done. So for this presentation, if you hear me say stage, I'm referring to priority from my current now. But anyway, current priority or the current stage is the number that it's in. You can have more than one item. When you get to stage 4, you might have 4 different plan reviews. You could have building, you could have fire, you could have an engineering review. But the day in queue is the date and time of when it became current priority, right? So that means the items in 3 were complete, and now it has unlocked the reviews in stage 4 that they can begin. So the second that happens where one requirement, not just a requirement, that stage, all the items are met, and it advances to the next, that is now the current stage, and there is a date in queue that is written to all the requirements in that. If there's 10 in there, every single one of them gets date and queue because that is now the current priority. Does that make sense? Okay, so date and queue is very helpful because a lot of times in your queue, that's something that you want to know is when did it become possible for me to do it? If you have to refute a claim of your work performance, right? I know none of you ever have to do that. Nobody ever has a problem with your workload, right? But if you do, one of the things that you're going to first want to talk about, the project's been open for 4 months, but it just came possible for me to do it yesterday. So I know he said his plan review is taking 3 months, but it's not that but it's really only been open to work on for 1 day because all the prereqs that customer had to do, like paying the permit fee, hasn't been done. It never moved to current priority till yesterday, and date and queue gives you that data to show your city manager. So you see why that's so important? So the same thing, a lot of times you're going to want to sort by date and queue because now you can see what has become possible to do the longest. So you can make sure you don't have a situation where, hey, it's been 3 months and it's really been possible to do that time. So date and queue allows you to see that. We also have a sort type, ascending and descending. So these work together. So you can kind of see that there. If I could get my pointer to work. There we go. Sort type, ascending, descending, and then the sorting fields. So you can have date and queue ascending, and you'll have newest to all this, and then you can do descending, and it'll flip them. So if you want to see, hey, I want to see what's the oldest, what's been out there latest, I want it right up the top, then you would use the ascending, descending to do that, or to flip it, I want to see what's the newest that came in. So this is a really big deal in allowing you to see for whatever your political situation is that you may, because it could change. Just basically, you can use these filters to flip the order and see certain things. So date queue is probably your most important one, in my opinion, and that's what it's doing. Now, the second one is assign date. A lot of times people get these confused where they're really two very different things. So if you notice, or now, if you go to the red toolbox, there's a drop down of people that could potentially do that requiring. But you can select a name to say, hey, out of the group that can do it, we're going to assign it to Christina. Now, Christina has been assigned specifically that requirement. The assigned date is the date Christina was assigned. So date Q is the date that Christina potentially could have done it if she was just going and picked it up. But the assigned date may not happen until a week later when a manager said, no, I want Christina to do this, and assigned it to her in the software. So if you're actively managing assignments, which some of you don't, but some of you do, and you want to see, hey, I want to see what's assigned to me, and I want to see what's the oldest when it was assigned for me, and I don't really care about the date queue because my manager said, don't worry about that. Manager said, just do what I assign you. Well, now you can use the assign date to see how that works. Does that make sense? Okay, you've got some nods. Good. So that's the difference between date and queue and the assign date. Now, the start date is another project management feature. Not as many jurisdictions do this, but you can, is where you can actively plan out and schedule when you will do things. So I might assign it to Christina, but I don't want Christina to start this until next Thursday because I got other priorities she does. But I want her to just look in her queue because I don't want to talk to Christina because I'm disrupting her doing work. I just want her working that queue. So I can now say, I want Christina to do it. I want Christina to start it on the start date of next Thursday. And I just trained Christina. What I want you to do is look in your queue for things that are your start date of today. Every day you come in, you look at the start date, you'll have, that's what I need you working on. So if you're looking to do very active project management, or even for yourself, you might want to plan out your day. I can't do all of this stuff. So we do this in our office. Every Friday, we kind of plan out tasks that we're going to do for the next week. So we can assign start dates that, hey, got a bunch of stuff that Darren needs to do. He can't do all of it. So let's pick what we want him to do next week. So we'll split the start date of Monday for one task, another task Tuesday. These tasks you do 3 or 4 and be on Wednesday. So now when he's in his queue, he can filter by the start dates and he can see what things have been assigned to him and when he's tasked to star in it. Does that make sense? All right, great. And then the last one, which is due date or deadline, where you can go into the red toolbox and you can set a deadline date that, hey, drop dead, this has to be done by Wednesday. So there's certain things we may use these in Newsom. There's going to be a big queue when it can be done. We may assign it to somebody. We may say start it on Tuesday, but we may say by Friday, it has to be done. There's a deadline Friday, and then you can't go longer than Friday. So you can set that now. You can filter your queue. Let me see everything that there's a deadline and what deadlines have snuck up on it. And that will like today that I need to see about. So all of these different sort options based on your situation can be very helpful based on what you're asked. And you can use these in the task queue to build you a list of what's most important to you to be working on. Does that make sense? Now, all of these fields, this is a quick slide you can download. I don't know if we actually did it, you intended to, but we're going to get all these PowerPoints on the website, My Apartment Now, MGO Connect. There'll be a day, 1 day, 2 day first. All these slides are there. So if you want to go back and look at these slides, you'll be able to go. But we have the red toolbox in My Apartment Now, and the arrows are pointing to where these fields are that you may already be familiar with, where they display on the task to card. Now, I don't yet have where you can directly edit this on the task queue. So in the task queue, what is you click it, it'll still open it up. into the requirement in My Permit Now. That's going to be changing soon, probably in about 3 weeks. It's going to go straight to MGO Connect. But my intention is for you to be able to directly edit this information on the task queue card so it's super fast and you don't have to go somewhere else. So today it's not doing that, but within the month, that's going to change and that would be another great improvement. But here's a quick just line item from that data, where it is in My Permit Now to where it is in MGO Connect. Another thing is, let's say you don't use start date. So if you don't use it on the taskbar, it won't show it. So if you go look on the PowerPoint show over here, but I don't see it, so that's because it's not set. If you just go set it, it'll display automatically. If it's not, it'll hide it. The goal being we're trying to keep minimal, just the information you need to see. If it's not set, you don't care about it, don't need to see it. If somebody sets it, then it'll be there. All right, and then there's, of course, the search results. So again, looking at the queue, you see different things, but you can actively today complete items. You can change the requirement status. We worked very hard with all of you to get using that feature over the last year, so you should have it. If you don't have the requirement status, get with us because you definitely want to. But so now just in your task queue, if you complete something, you can just mark it as complete right there. It'll hide it and move on to the next step. Another feedback item that we have is people really like this card. It looks really good in the queue, right? But then we have some folks that plan reviewers, you might have 100 plan reviews. So the cards take up more space and make the list really long, which is great if you just sorted your queue, you're working one at a time. It's a real condensed version, gives you all the information you need. Fantastic, love it. But then there's other times I just need to scan through my list really quickly. I just kind of need an Excel list and I just want to quick through key information. So we created a way that you can toggle between the card view and the list view. And let me see if I can point to it. It's right there. That button right there will toggle between the two. So if I click that, the middle will change to kind of like an Excel view. And I also have the ability to control what fields of information are here. Now, I don't have any of the like complete and things like that list view that is coming. But if you said, look, I just want to see quickly kind of an Excel view here of what all my stuff is, you can just toggle to it and go back to the card view when you're ready. Okay, here's all the different task filters and sorts, different results, they'll just different things of how it looks at. Let me especially go back here. Okay, so here's actually the online requests. So another important feature here, we talked about this could be one queue that replaces everything. So notice that there is a task type. Task type by default is going to be requirements. That's basically the department queue, but you can change that to online requests, and that's going to be your online application queue. So you're using the same familiar look to show you a list of applications. If you want to, you could also see work orders here, but just changing it to work orders. So you have all of your different queues are represented now by a task type. So you can be in one queue, your task queue, and you can see many different task types that you can toggle between: requirements, applications, and even work orders. Most of you won't use the work orders, but if you're somebody that says, look, I really do most of my work from my desk, I'm really not even resulting my inspections in the field. I'm just going to be at my desk and I'm doing plan reviews. I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm really not leaving the office. That's going to be a use case, and we have some of those, that you'll want to just use the task queue to complete work orders to see what they are. That's where it's useful. Most of all, you'll pull up a tablet. You'll just do it with the MGO Connect work orders, but it is possible to do it here if you need that. And then here's a look at what that looks like if you toggle work orders. It's literally exactly the same thing as the MGO Connect work orders on your tablet. You're just going to see it inside of the queue. It's even literally the same code. So as we're doing updates, this updates you automatically. We also have a mobile version. So if you would really like kind of a pared down task queue on your phone with push notifications and all of that, you can go as this. If you have an Apple device, go to the App Store, install the MGO Tasks app. I actually use it quite a bit for things that we do, and you can get a list of items. You can bulk complete them there. We do have an Android version of MGO Tasks. It kind of evolves in separate
they're going to both ultimately do the exact same thing, but it's not the case today. The Apple one, we really focus on building features or the requirements, those features. The Android app, we really focus on building different types of inspections because it was Android was used more by how it works. And they're gonna meet in the middle where they both do the same, but they don't have the same features today. Like we're working towards that goal. Does that make sense? So if you're looking for that requirements queue, if you have an Apple device, Task Queue is going to be great. Android, need to wait a little bit more for that. Um, but so anyway, that's what it is. If you have any questions, give me on the side. I'll explain it more out. But we have this is what it looks like. You have these sliders you're following, go through. It's the same part you can complete on the whole bit. And there's a lot more that's gone. So we're going to start, now that we're starting to turn the corner with the development, with the NGO Connect project page that we talked about this morning, I'm going to have a lot more development time that's going to start to become free, that we can really start focusing on the task queue. Like I said, the sort features just came out. That's been something we work with customers very hard on for what the needs are. But there's going to be more things that are coming. We're really excited about it. It's very fast. It works really well. It's just going to keep getting better. So if you want to use it, just sign up. As we can, we'll turn it on to your account. You can start testing it out. And really, my goal is by the end of this year, we have everybody using Task Queue. You don't need to use a partner key.